See, in the last class, we have started the discussion of basic accounting information. We have started the concept of basic accounting information in the chapter, fifth chapter, that is transaction processing systems. Regarding transaction processing system, we have discussed what is meant by transaction processing system, what are its characteristics, what are the types of that processing system, what are the methods. Like that, we have discussed all the things regarding transaction processing system. Why TPS is important for any organization, which type of data it is going to be handled, and which type of solutions it is going to give the for a organization. So after that, we are having that accounting information. So in the previous class, we have discussed some points regarding accounting information. So I want to discuss some more points regarding this accounting information. As we have completed that topic, still I want to cover up some points regarding this. See here, whatever may be the organization, the business firm, or whatever it may be, a small organization, they need to maintain that accounting information. Okay, if it is a very small business firm, means they are going to maintain a small accountant, or they are maintaining that accounts by using some tally software or any another software which is compatible for their organization. Suppose if it is a joint stock company, suppose if you consider any joint stock companies, so we know that what is meant by joint stock company. Here, more number of investors are there, more number of stakeholders are there. So in joint stock, we are having number of varieties. That means a public limited joint stock companies, private limited joint stock companies. In this, we have seen types in these joint stock companies. So if it is a joint stock company, means it investments are in crores. Okay, so the stakeholders are investing in these companies in millions. Okay, they need a uniform standardized system of accounting by which companies can be compared on the basis of the performance value. So suppose if the company is running the turnovers are in millions, they have to maintain a standardized and uniform system of accounting. So whenever we are dealing with the turnovers in crores, so we need to maintain a standard system. So that standard system must be a uniform one, and that by which the companies can be, why, because if they are maintaining a uniform and standardized accounting information system, then they can be used to compare on the basis of their performance and values. So they can compare with the previous history values, how the performance will be in the previous year, or the before 5 years, how the performance will be, how they, and from those values they want to predict that future, or they can take the future predictions from that comparison of the values. So here, the accounting principles based on certain concepts, convention and tradition have been evolved. So in that way, we need to maintain a standard system of accounting has been arrived. So by accounting authorities and regulators, and are followed internationally. These principles are followed internationally. So here, when you are maintaining accounting information system, means we need to maintain a standard principles. These principles are followed by everywhere. Okay, accounting principles based on certain concepts, convention and tradition have been evolved by accounting authorities and regularities, and followed, and these are followed internationally. Whatever the concepts, conventions and rules and methodologies, they have evolved by the accounting authorities and regulators, these things will be followed internationally. So here, these principles which serve as the rules for accounting for financial transactions and preparing financial statements. So what is the meant by preparation of financial statement? We have studied already. So those are known as generally accepted accounting principles. So whoever the accounting authorities and regulators, they are preparing certain concepts, conventions and traditions for performing their accounting transactions, for maintaining that accounting data and preparing their financial statements. So whatever the principles and rules they are using for accounting, they are known as generally accepted accounting principles. These must be followed. This is in simple form, we will call it as GAAP. So what is this? Generally accepted accounting principles must be followed by all the organizations who are maintaining that accounting information system. So the application of principles by the accountant ensures that financial statements are both informative and reliable. So here, By using that principles, whatever that financial statements we are preparing, those financial statements must be informative and reliable. It ensures that common practices and conventions are followed. We should follow the common practices and another conventions also. Okay. And some common rules and procedures are compiled with. So for following those things, some common rules and procedures are compiled with. Okay. Now, it should be said that just there may be variations in the usage of language by two people living in two continents. There may be a minor differences. That means we told that these are acceptable internationally, because if you consider two countries, means the languages used by the two people are different. There may be a minor differences in the application of accounting rules and procedures depending on the accountant, so they are universally acceptable. So if you take any example here, example case, two accountants may choose equally correct methods for recording a particular transaction based on their professional judgment and knowledge. Okay. So accounting principles are accepted. When the accounting principles are accepted, here we are considering an example. The two accountants, they are choosing two equally correct methods. So for preparing some many financial statements, they need to go through number of transactions in the organization. అంటే మనకి సర్టెన్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ అనేవి బిజినెస్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఆ బిజినెస్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ని బేస్ చేసుకుని మనం ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఫైనల్ అకౌంట్స్ ఏదైనా ప్రిపేర్ చేయాలి అనుకున్నాం. సో వెన్ ద టూ అకౌంట్స్ మే చూస్ టూ ఈక్వల్లీ కరెక్ట్ మెథడ్స్, దే ఆర్ చూసింగ్ టూ ఈక్వల్లీ కరెక్ట్ మెథడ్స్ ఫర్ రికార్డింగ్ ఏ పర్టికులర్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ based on their own professional judgment and knowledge. So what are the things accepted? If they are objective, usable in practical solutions, if they are usable in practical situations, and if they are reliable, and if they are feasible, that means they can be applied without incurring any high costs, and comprehensible to those with a basic knowledge of finance. Okay. If they are having such type of principles, if they are following such type of things, means we can follow the things anmata. Okay. So this is the thing I want to convey regarding accounting information, which we have discussed in that previous class. I want to give some more information regarding this accounting principles. So what are the accounting principles? What are the generally accepted accounting principles? So in this generally accepted accounting principles, if the two accountants are choosing two equally correct methods for recording their particular transactions, so based on their own professional judgment and knowledge, so how they should be accepted the particular issue. Okay. So for accepting that particular issue, what should it contain? This is the thing. So we will go for that actual next topic in your syllabus. Wait for 1 second. See, in the last class, we have discussed what are accounting information systems. This is also a information system. It is a formal process for what is the purpose of that accounting information system. It is also used for collecting the data. Which type of data? Financial related data, which is what are the transactions related data. So collecting the data, processing data into information, and distributing that information to that users. So what is the purpose of that accounting information system? Again, it is collecting, storing, and processing that financial and accounting data and produce informational reports that managers or other interested parties can use to make business decisions. So the purpose of accounting information system is to collect the data and store the data and process that financial and accounting data. Whatever that financial and accounting data is there in your business organization, it is going to collect the data and processing the data. With that data, it is preparing informational reports. So for whom those reports are useful? For the managers and who are the decision makers in our organization. They will take certain decisions or certain implementations for your organization based on that informational reports which you have prepared by using that accounting information system. These accounting information systems may be useful for another stakeholders who are in your company, or any another partners. If your business is a partnership a business, whoever the partners are running your business, all the partners are required that accounting information. So that's why this accounting information is very useful. We have discussed in the last class, we have discussed the functions of an accounting information, basic three functions. So in which way it will be useful? So for maintaining organizational financial activities, and including that getting the transaction data from the source documents and recording the transactions in the journals, and how we are posting that journals into the ledgers. That is the basic function of accounting information. And second function is we are supplying the information useful for decision makers. So after processing that information, we are preparing that informational reports which is useful for making decisions, including producing managerial reports and financial statements. So the third function is to make sure controls are in place to accurately record and process the data. Okay, so we need to make sure the controls which are in place and to accurately record and process the data. So these are the main functions we have discussed. Next, we have discussed what are the parts of an accounting system. In beginning of the class, we have discussed what are the principles of the accounting information system. What we have discussed, principles of accounting information system. Here it is parts of an accounting information system. Who are the parts? People, procedures and instructions, data, software, information technology, and internal controls. Next, we have seen types of accounting information system. What is general ledger system, what we are doing in the general ledger system, what is the purpose of asset management, what is the need for managing the assets. Okay, why we need to keep tracking of these assets. So why this model is very important, or streamlining tracking of that assets. Because suppose if you take any fixed asset, there may be a maintenance requirement. Suppose if your organization is industry, so a lot of machinery you have been bought 5 years back. So after 5 years, the whatever the machinery you have bought, it has some depreciation. Okay, so it needs some maintenance, repairs. It needs to be service, needs to be done service. So for such type of depreciation and maintenance scheduling of your asset, improve the productivity with easier access. So that is the asset management. What is meant by order entry system and account receivable and payable system, what you are doing in this account receivable and payable system. So whenever you are purchasing the items or purchasing the goods from some vendors, you need to pay the money. That means whoever the creditors and who are the debtors in your system, you have to maintain the keep tracking of all the things. Okay, so what are the sales channel, how we are going to streamlining the sales channel, and what are the invoicing, how we are preparing that invoicing. Inventory control system, you know that you are maintaining the stock in your organization, how much stock is available, how many number of items are available in the inventory, what is the cost of those items, what is the cost of those items, and whether we have lost any items or any damaged items are there. If you want to evaluate the things like that, okay, we are using that inventory control system. Next, payroll system is for preparing the employees salaries, how you are processing the data related to the salaries. So with respect to that, including taxes and other deductions, what are the benefits you are providing to that employees, or any overtime and other any related data you should add to that particular employee's salaries. So the payroll system is for meant for processing the data which is relevant to that, which is related to that in salaries of that employees. Cash management, so how that cash flows in your organization, cash inflow and outflow. Okay, so you have learned that what is the cash inflow statement and fund flow statement in the previous semester MEFA subject. So how that cash flows occurs in any organization, that is the module of cash management. These are all things we have discussed in the last class. And I have started that office automation systems. In office automation system, we are performing two types of activities. One is the activities performed by the clerical personnel and another activities performed by the executives. If it is the clerical personnel means the clerks are clerical personnel means the clerks, secretaries and typists, they are going to prepare some type of letters, some documents which are relevant to our organization. Executives means managers and engineers and other professional or economists and research. They are preparing other thing. So suppose in the first category, what are the clerks and secretaries or typists are preparing? They are preparing some general typing of any documents, and they will do the mailing or scheduling of meetings and conferences. So what are the managerial category or experts are doing in your organization? Second activities, how to how they are going to arrange the conference and how they have to plan the things. So what is the production of information? Any messages, any memos related to employees, any reports regarding employees or their organization, how they have to predict the things, controlling performance. So these are the two types of office activities. One activity is performed by the clerical personnel and another activity is performed by the executive. Now in today's class, we are going to discuss about that word processing, a very general topic which all of us know what is meant by how we are doing that MS Word, how we are, for what purposes we are using that word. Okay. So any text document or any word processor or any Microsoft Word, for what purposes you are using that word processing? What is the purpose of word processing? Why we need to use that word processing? A general topic. See here, a word processing is nothing but it refers to the computer assisted preparation of documents. So previously, if you want to prepare any letter, we are preparing that letter manually. So whoever the expert, he is going to dictate the letter. Who are the clerk or typist, he is going to write the letters in short quotes, and she prepare that letter by using the type machine. Okay. Nowadays, we are preparing these computer assistant preparation documents. That means we are preparing the letters, reports of any organization or memos or whatever it may be from the textual data. So this refers to the computer assistant preparation of the documents. You are preparing the documents from your textual data. Okay. So which type of document? They include letters, reports and any memos. See here how the text is entered, how all of you know that the text is entered through the input device, that is a keyboard, which is displayed on the screen of a visual display unit. So whatever the text you are entering through the keyboard, we are able to display on the screen. So we are seeing on the monitor. So that is VDU, your visual display unit. So data once entered can be manipulated. So when you are preparing a letter in MS Word, so whatever the data you are entering, you may commit a number of mistakes. So when what are the facilities of MS Word? This can be manipulated. We can check for spelling checks. This can be edited. We can take a number of copies. We can store it on the magnetic media and we can be reproduced through simple commands. So మనం డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ షార్ట్ కట్స్ యూస్ చేసుకుని సింపుల్ కమాండ్స్ యూస్ చేసుకుని సో మనం ఏం చేయొచ్చు దాన్ని రీడ్రాఫ్టింగ్, సో విచ్ ఎలిమినేట్ ద నీడ్ ఫర్ రీడ్రాఫ్టింగ్ ద ఎంటైర్ డాక్యుమెంట్ని రీడ్రాఫ్టింగ్ చేయకుండా సింపుల్ కమాండ్స్ యూస్ చేసుకుని మనం మల్టిపుల్ కాపీస్ రీప్రొడ్యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. అదే కాపీలో మనకి వేరే చిన్న మోడిఫికేషన్స్ ఇంకొక ఫార్మాట్లో లెటర్ కావాలి అనుకున్నా సో అవి మనం మోడిఫై చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. దట్ ఈస్ ద థింగ్. అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ హెడ్డింగ్స్, హెడర్స్, ఫూటర్స్, basic format correct anukondi, some message you want to change, so we can eliminate certain things and we can there is no need to redraft the entire document. So whatever the modifications we required, we can do that modifications in that particular document. All of you guys know that. So spellings can be checked automatically. So in word processor, if you provide that spell check automatically when you are entering that you are able to 99. క్లాస్లో ఏం చేస్తారో కూడా అర్థం కావట్లే మీకు. స్పెల్లింగ్స్ కెన్ బి చెక్డ్ ఆటోమేటికల్లీ అండ్ ప్రీ డిఫైన్డ్ లెటర్స్ కెన్ బి జనరేటెడ్. సో హియర్ మన MS వర్డ్లో మనకి ఏంటంటే లెటర్ ఫార్మాట్స్ అనేవి కొన్ని ఉంటాయి, ప్రీ డిఫైన్ లెటర్ ఫార్మాట్స్ అనేవి ఉంటాయి. సో ఆ లెటర్ ఫార్మాట్స్ని యూస్ చేసుకుని మనము స్పెల్లింగ్స్ని ఆటోమేటిక్గా చెక్ చేస్తూ మనకే కావాల్సిన లెటర్ని మనం ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. సో దిస్ కెన్ బి అడ్రస్డ్ టు మెనీ పర్సన్ బై మెర్జింగ్ ద లెటర్. అంటే మనకి డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ మెర్జింగ్స్ కూడా ఎలా చేయాలో కూడా మనకి ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్లో ఉంటుంది. బై మెర్జింగ్ ద లెటర్ అండ్ అడ్రస్ త్రూ ద మెయిల్ మెర్జ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్. మనకి మెయిల్ మెర్జ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ అనేది ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్లో ఉంటుంది. బై యూజింగ్ దట్ మెయిల్ మెర్జ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ ద opportunity for your purposes. That is the word processing. So next, electronic filing. So this facilitates the filing of incoming and outgoing documents on a magnetic media. That means we are maintaining electronic documents, digital copies. So the facilities means it providing the facilitates, it is going to facilitate the how we are filing the incoming and outgoing documents. So previously we are maintaining hard copies of files. It is going to be take a lot of time and space. So when you are having the facility for storing it on the magnetic media, we are whenever we require, we can take the copy of that particular document. So information is captured from the document and is stored for future reference. So whenever we required for the particular document which we have stored in that electronic media or magnetic media, so we can use it for future reference. Next, so computer based filing systems have the advantage of space saving. So what is the purpose of when you are using that electronic filing? We are able to save the space and permitting easily modify cross reference indexes. See here, it is allowing us to modify the cross references indexes. These indexes contain pointers to the location of the document itself. So we are filing the systems and how we are storing the files in different drives with different names. How for our purpose, how we are handling the systems for storing the different files. Suppose if you are going to save your project files, so what is the suppose if you are preparing your documentation of your project, how you are going to save the things, how you are going to provide the indexes or indexes for maintaining that particular file. So what is the purpose of that particular index? So it is containing some pointers to the location of that particular document itself. So that is the purpose of electronic filing. Next, electronic mail, email. You know that. What is the purpose of that email? Suppose if you want to send information to any another person. Suppose if you want to send a letter to any other person. Suppose if you want to share a notes or a document or whatever it may be. So we are sharing through the telecommunications lines rather than a physical copy. So we are not going for a physical delivery of that copy. So we are transferring that information or the documents through the telecommunication lines. That is the purpose of that email. Within seconds, we are transferring that document. So this email system requires a telecommunication network. So for whom you are transferring that particular document, what is the thing you require here? Telecommunication network and software. So whenever we are using telecommunication network and software, it speeds up the mail deliveries and reduces the cost and time taken by the paper mail. Suppose when you are using that paper mail or physical delivery, it takes a lot of time. So that time of can be reduced within seconds. We are delivering that document. So nowadays we are using voicemails also, which is another form of email which transmit messages in digitized voice. So whatever that voice we are recording and we are sending, so this transmit the messages in a digitized voices. For certain purposes, we are sending the voicemails, and certain purposes we are sending that written form of messages. That is email. So email is nothing but electronic mail, which is commonly used in the internet service. Internet service lo manam use chese common ga use chesedi emails. It refers to the facility of sending and receiving messages electronically over a network of computers. Through a network of computers, we are sending and receiving these emails. Okay, so sending and receiving emails require a user to have an email address. Whenever you want to send an email to a particular person, what is the basic thing you require? You all of you know that email address of that particular person. So what is the email ID for which which person you are going to send that document? That person's email ID you should require. Okay, that email ID is generated in number of websites. You are having Gmails, Yahoo mails, Rediff mails, and Hotmails. Number of emails are there with different domains. We are creating that emails. Or if your organization is very big, with your organization domain name itself, you are having that emails. Suppose if you are working any software company, with your company names you are having, with your company domain names you are having the emails. So your emails are not then official. Okay. So so these are providing the facility to create a free email account. So the number of websites are providing us for creating a free email account. So note that since multiple users can access the internet at the same time, we know that multiple users are accessing the internet at the same time. The email address must be unique for each internet user. So మనకి తెలిసిన విషయాలే మనం ఇక్కడ డిస్కస్ చేస్తున్నాము, బట్ ఉంది కాబట్టి చెప్పాలి కాబట్టి చెప్తున్నాను. సో ఈమెయిల్ ఐడి ఎందుకు కావాలి, ఈమెయిల్ ఎందుకు పంపిస్తాము, సో మల్టిపుల్ యూజర్స్ దే ఆర్ యాక్సెసింగ్ ద ఇంటర్నెట్ అట్ సేమ్ టైం కాబట్టి మన ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రసెస్లో యూనిక్గా ఉంటాయని కూడా మీ అందరికీ తెలుసు. దట్ ఈస్ ద థింగ్. సో ఎన్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ ఈస్ డివైడెడ్ ఇంటూ 2 parts. మన ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ ఉంది, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సమ్ కుమార్ at the rate సో కుమార్ డాట్ సమ్ 321 @yahoo.com అన్నాము. సో ఆ కుమార్ .123 @yahoo.com అన్నాం కదా. సో దట్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ ఈస్ డివైడెడ్ ఇంటూ 2 parts. ఏంటవి? యూజర్ నేమ్, మెయిల్ సర్వర్ నేమ్. సో ద 2 parts ఆర్ సెపరేటెడ్ బై @ సింబల్. సో ద స్ట్రక్చర్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ ఈస్ యాజ్ ఫాలోస్. యూజర్ నేమ్ @mailserver.com. యూజర్ నేమ్లో kumar.123 ఉంటుంది. @yahoo.com అనేది మెయిల్ సర్వర్ నేమ్ అనమాట. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ రాసారు చూడండి, itl.esl@gmail.com. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ వేర్ itl.esl అనేది యూజర్ నేము, జీమెయిల్ అనేది ద మెయిల్ సర్వర్ నేము. మీకు తెలుసు ఈమెయిల్లో 2 parts ఉన్నాయి. వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ 2 parts? ఒకటి యూజర్ నేము, ఒకటి మెయిల్ సర్వర్ నేము. సో ప్రతి ఈమెయిల్ ఐడి మనకి యూనిక్గా ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకని? మల్టిపుల్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ యూజర్స్ ఆర్ యాక్సెసింగ్ ద ఇంటర్నెట్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం కాబట్టి వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ అవర్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రసెస్ యూనిక్ అనమాట. మనకి ఎంత స్పేస్ ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తుంది, మనకి ఒకసారి ఆ స్పేస్ని మనం ఎలా యూటిలైజ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అవన్నీ మీకు తెలుసు. సో email is a very popular service of the internet because of its numerous advantages, and it has some disadvantages also. So what are the general advantages and disadvantages of that email? So we are using that email. What are the advantages and disadvantages we are facing with that email? So first of all, we will go through that advantages of that email. So what is the purpose of email? If you want to share any information, if you want to send any letter, if you want to share your material, so whatever it may be, if you want to share your photos or images, so it is a very fast medium of communication. If you want to communicate the things, so the person, wherever may be the person, whatever the location of a person, you can easily communicate with the person with this email. So these messages can be sent in no time, irrespective of the distance. So whatever maybe the 2 persons are living, so with respect to that, irrespective of the distance, we are sending the messages within no time. So it is a very economic medium of communication. So here we are not paying very much for that. It is very economical. So for communicating between the number of peoples, it is a very economic medium. You are only charged the cost of being online. So here just we require what is the charge for internet. Just we are paying the money for internet connection. So whether you are sending it overseas or down the road, so whether you are sending the emails through other states or whatever it may be, so just you require that internet connection. Any form of data. So which type of data we are transmitting? It may be a textual information, it may be a graphical information, we can send a sound, or we can send any video. It can be sent through the emails. All these the things can be different different multimedia. So multimedia transmission can be occurring through the emails. Multimedia means different types: text, graphics, sounds, video, audio. These things can be sent through the emails. So it is a secure medium of communication. So we can say that whatever the information we are sending through that email, it is a secure medium. So no one can access anybody's email account without the knowing the password. So for whom we are sending that message, the person to that email account, the person only can view the things. If at all any person knows the password of that particular person, they can also view. Okay. Disadvantages. So if you are typing any slight error in the email address of the recipient, it is enough to prevent the delivery of the message. And even when you do everything right, there is always chance of failure in one of the links between you and your recipients. There may be some chances, very less chances of failure of that email. So There may be a reason for a slight error in the email address of the recipient, or there may be another failure, the whichever the links between you and your recipients. Sometimes viruses can enter your system through attachments received in the emails. Sometimes we are getting certain types of emails, they are asking you to click on that particular link. So through that emails, when you opening that particular type of links, viruses going to be attacked into your system and your entire data going to be corrupted. So different types of worms or viruses, whatever may be attacked. So if it is a worm, means it is replicating itself, it is creating more number of copies, and it is going to corrupt your system. So that is the problem. Some type of viruses can enter into your system through the attachments. Next. So what is the other thing? That is a voicemail or fax voicemail, fax. So fax emails we have learned that previously we have used. What is this voicemail? So these are among some of the services. Voicemail and fax email is also some of the services provided by the telephone service providers. So telephone service providers are providing certain type of services, voicemails and fax emails. In some cases, we are saying some type of voice messages and keeping the receiver. So whenever that person opens the things, they are going to deliver that voice messages. So voicemail allows communicating information in the form of audio. So if it is a voicemail, means it is allows communicating information. How we are able to communicating that information in the form of audios. Whereas a fax email means it is communicating in information in the form of graphics. We are getting the information in the form of documents also. In both these services, the sender and receiver need not be present at the same time. అంటే వాయిస్ మెయిల్ ఫ్యాన్స్ మెయిల్స్లో ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళు ఇద్దరు సెండర్ కానీ రిసీవర్ కానీ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం అక్కడ ప్రజెంట్ అవ్వాలని లేదు. సో ఫ్యాన్స్ మెయిల్ మనం ఇక్కడ సెండ్ చేసేసిన తర్వాత అక్కడ అతను ఏ టైంలో దాన్నైనా డెలివర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం అక్కడ ఉండి ఒకటేసారి జరగాలని లేదు. దిస్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇస్ సెంట్ టు ఎ మెషిన్ which can be viewed by the receiver at his own convenient time. If it is if it may be a voicemail or fax email, we are sending, the sender is sending that information, that data. It can be viewed by the receiver at his own convenient time. అతనికి కుదిరినప్పుడు అతని కన్వీనియంట్ టైంలో he can see that message. So voicemail, it is a service in which the spoken message is converted into the digital form. So whatever the messages you are spoken, this is converted into the digital form, and this will be transmitted over the network. So manamu whatever the messages we have delivered, whatever the things we have conveyed, it is first of all converted into the digital form, and this is transmitted through the network and stored on the disk, అంటే వాయిస్ మెయిల్ బాక్స్లో స్టోర్ అవుతుంది ఫర్ later retrieval అన్నమాట. సో the recipient is given message that a new voice mail has been delivered in the mailbox. సో రెసిప్టెంట్కి ఒక మెసేజ్ ఏమని వస్తుంది, one new voice mail has been delivered in the mailbox. Whenever the user visits the mailbox, the voice message is restored and played back into the audio form. ఎప్పుడైతే వాయిస్ మెసేజ్ రీస్టోర్ అయ్యి ప్లేబ్యాక్ అవుతుందో అప్పుడు అది నార్మల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఆడియో ఫామ్లోకి అది మామూలుగా వచ్చేస్తుంది అనమాట. సో దిస్ స్టోర్ అండ్ ఫార్వర్డ్ టెక్నాలజీ is very useful because it overcomes the restriction for real-time communication between the machines. So this technology is very useful because it overcomes the restriction for real-time communication. So whenever that real-time communication between the machines is not possible, it overcomes the type of restrictions. Moreover, it facilitates the receiver in saving, deleting, and forwarding messaging to the others. So what it is going to facilitate, it facilitates the receiver in saving or deleting or forwarding messages to others. So these messages are helpful in automated call return, message forwarding, message broadcasting, etc. It is now being used for advertising also. So some type of educational purposes, some type of voice mails are delivered. Advertising purpose means some types of schools are for giving progresses or attendance of the students. These type of voice messages are used or voice mails are used. It is more commonly used by the school authorities for informing the guardians about the progress of the students, what are the attendance maintained by that student, and other related issues of the students. If they want to convey the informations to the parents by the school authorities, they are using that voice mails. Fax emails, it is a system used for transferring a copy of image of any document. సో మనం ఎనీ ఇమేజ్ ఆఫ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ని అదర్ పర్సన్కి మనం ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేయాలి అని అనుకున్నప్పుడు మనం ఫ్యాక్స్ ఇమెయిల్స్ యూస్ చేసాము. సో ఫ్యాక్స్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ ఇన్వాల్వ్స్ ఫ్యాక్స్ మెషిన్స్. సో ఫ్యాక్స్ ఇమెయిల్స్ని సెండ్ చేయాలంటే బోత్ సైడ్స్ మనకి ఫ్యాక్స్ మెషిన్స్ ఉండాలి విత్ ఇన్బిల్ట్ మోడెమ్స్. సో ఈ ఫ్యాక్స్ మెషిన్స్లో మనకి ఏముండాలి, ఇన్బిల్ట్ మోడెమ్స్ ఉండాలి at both the ends connected with the telephone network, and these fax machines are connected with the telephone network. So the fax machine at the sender side scans the image. మనం ఏదైతే డాక్యుమెంట్ మనం పంపించాలనుకున్నామో సెండర్ సైడ్ మనం ఏం చేస్తాము, దాన్ని స్కాన్ చేసి ఇమేజ్ని ఫ్రమ్ టాప్ టు బాటమ్ లెఫ్ట్ టు రైట్ స్కాన్ చేసినప్పుడు మనకి ఎలా కనిపిస్తుంది అంటే ఇట్ లుకింగ్ ఫర్ బ్లాక్ అండ్ వైట్ డాట్స్ లాగా కనిపిస్తుంది. సో దీస్ డాట్స్ కెన్ బి ట్రాన్స్లేటెడ్ ఇంటూ డేటా బిట్స్. ఈ డాట్స్ అనేవి మళ్ళీ అవుట్ సైడ్ అదర్ సైడ్ మనకి రిసీవర్ సైడ్ ఎలాగా కన్వర్ట్ అవుతాయి, డేటా బిట్స్ కింద కన్వర్ట్ అయ్యి విచ్ ఆర్ ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ ఓవర్ ద నెట్వర్క్ through the modem and reproduced in a hard copy by the fax machine at the receiver side. So these dots are then translated into data bits. ఈ డాట్స్ అనేవి డేటా బిట్స్ కింద మనకి ట్రాన్స్లేట్ అవుతాయి విచ్ ఆర్ ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ ఓవర్ ద నెట్వర్క్. Through the network these are transmitted through the modem and again reproduced in a hard copy by the fax machine at the receiver side. మనకి రిసీవర్ ఎలా అండర్స్టాండబుల్ చేసుకోగలడో ఆ ఫార్మాట్లోకి మనకి మళ్ళీ చేంజ్ అయ్యి వచ్చేస్తుంది అనమాట. ఓకేనా. నెక్స్ట్, what is the purpose of teleconferencing? So we are seeing that video conferencing. So we are using conferencing calls in the phones. Generally previously we are doing the phone call to a person, that means two persons are going to be communicated. Now we are able to communicate more than two persons at a time. We are doing normal conference calls. That means we are doing only delivering the voice messages to that conference call, and we are able to conduct video conferences with a number of persons. Okay, it is a technology that allows communication among several people. If you want to perform communication among several people at a distant locations but connected via telecommunication system. If the people are connected via telecommunication system, we are able to perform that communication among several people, usually over a telephone line. It is similar to a telephone call, but the conversation is extended to a several people instead of two. So between among several, suppose if it is a company's meeting or any company's issues, management meetings, whatever it may be, so they will conduct a teleconferencing between the several people instead of only two. This it can be reduce the traveling cost, increase idea sharing with each other. We can share our ideas with each other, and the result in improved quality and increasing the productivity. Okay, suppose any business organization, they want to communicate that other people who are handling the same things, so they can communicate that other people by sharing their ideas and sharing that information for increasing their productivity. A business organization uses teleconferencing to connect to its remote clients and employees. ఒక బిజినెస్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఏంటంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు యూజింగ్ ద టెలికాన్ఫరెన్సింగ్. ఫర్ వాట్ పర్పసెస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ యూజింగ్ టెలికాన్ఫరెన్సింగ్? వాళ్ళ రిమోట్ క్లయింట్స్ని కానీ ఎంప్లాయీస్ని కానీ వాళ్ళు కనెక్ట్ చేసుకుని అక్కడ వర్క్ ఎలా జరుగుతుంది, ఏంటి వాళ్ళ క్లయింట్స్ ఎలా ఉన్నారు, ఏం ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఏం ఇష్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి, దే వాంట్ టు డిస్కస్ ద థింగ్స్ లైక్ దట్ through the teleconferencing. Teleconferencing enables organization to arrange meetings. What is the purpose behind that? We can arrange meetings, we can demonstrate their product, present project updates, వాళ్ళ ప్రొడక్ట్ ఇష్యూస్ ఎలా జరుగుతున్నాయి, ప్రజెంట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ అప్డేట్స్ ఎలా ఉన్నాయి, ఈవెన్ ప్రొవైడ్ లైవ్ ట్రైనింగ్ క్లాసెస్ టు వేరియస్ ఎంప్లాయీస్. If they want to provide some training classes who are the employees at various another location, at remote locations, they can provide that live training classes. In addition, it can also use it to report monthly progress. So they want to know that monthly progresses of that employees who are at a remote locations. They can find that remote, they can report monthly progresses also. Okay, the simplest form of teleconferencing is to three-way calling service provided by the telephone companies. Next, this service enables you to establish your own telephone conference between yourself and other two persons. Some of the teleconference service providers provide this service for more than three persons. At lower cost, most of the companies are using teleconferencing services provided by the telephone companies. Okay, so rather than setting up their own telephone conferencing systems, that is the thing. So what is the other purpose? The traditional mode of teleconferencing enables only voice sharing among the participants. If you take that traditional based teleconferencing methods, it is going to enabling that voice sharing only. So whoever the persons, they are connected through that teleconferencing, they are able to share their voice only. But modern teleconferencing technologies, namely data conferencing or video conferencing, which we are using that video conferencing. So we are doing that video conferencing. We are using various applications like our Zoom applications. We are conducting a video conferencing. In that video conferencing, we are able to share the document among ourselves. We are able to see the persons. So through videos, and we are able to, it is helping in sharing information from both the ends simultaneously. It is helping us to share the information. While data conferencing allows sharing electronic documents with each other, video conferencing allows and it is going to enable the participant to see each other in addition to information sharing. We know that video conferencing లో మనకి పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఒకరినొకళ్ళు వ్యూ చేసుకోవడమే కాకుండా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ షేరింగ్ అనేది డాక్యుమెంట్స్, ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ షేర్ చేసుకోవడానికి కూడా కుదురుతుంది అనమాట. సో వీ కెన్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ద థింగ్స్, వీ కెన్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ ఆర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బి త్రూ దిస్ video conferencing methods. So nowadays with these methods only, number of people are going to write the exams, online exams. Okay, so up to this I'm going to conclude the class. What are the things we have discussed in the today's class? What is the things we have started from the office automation systems? So in office automation systems, the activities are performed in two ways. The activities performed by the clerical personnel and the activities performed by the executors. Clerical personnel are nothing but clerks, executors are nothing but managers and engineers. So what is meant by word processing? This is like your MS Word. What is the purpose of the MS Word you are using? What are the applications you can perform your word processing? So what are the benefits of your word processing? Next, what is the purpose of electronic filing? So instead of maintaining the physical hard copies of the documents, what is the purpose of that electronic filing? How it is going to save the space? Next, what is meant by email? So in email for prepare how email, what are you are doing? What are the various domains for preparing that emails? So for sending an email, what is the things you required? In email, what are the two parts it is having? What are the advantages and disadvantages of that emails which you are using? Next, we have discussed the voicemail and facemail. So what is the purpose of a voicemail? And whenever we are using that facemails, what are the purposes of the facemails? When we can share that facemails to that particular persons. What is meant by teleconferencing? What is the purpose of that teleconferencing? And nowadays, what is we are using that video conferencing. Video conferencing. What is the purpose of the video conferencing? And next class we will discuss the data conferencing. What is the purpose of that data conferencing? So with this, I am concluding the class. So whoever having that seminars today, attend without fail. Don't irritate us. మీ టాస్క్ని మీరు కంప్లీట్ చేయమని చెప్తున్నాము. దీనికోసం మమ్మల్ని ఒకటికి 100 సార్లు చెప్పించకండి. రోజు చెప్పి చెప్పి మేము విసిగిపోతున్నాము. సో కనెక్ట్ టు ద క్లాస్ వితౌట్ ఫెయిల్. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఆల్.